Welcome back. All right, news of the day video for all you fine people for your Wednesday, March the 13th, almost halfway through March. And this is a lot of this is news from yesterday, so we'll just pretend that it's brand new news, shall we? Or no. Matt Rempe, of course, was suspended 4 games for the elbow on Siegenthaler. And last night was game 1 of said suspension. The Rangers looked okay without him. Rempe's a fourth liner, so if you want to say, well, of course they're going to throw the book at him because, you can throw the book at him rather than insert name here. But yeah, Rempe out for 4 games. I do expect with Matt Rempe at some point the Rangers, the NHL, kind of pulling him aside. And think about when Matthew Tkachuk was younger. And he was always riding that line, and there were some hits people didn't like. Eventually, he got pulled aside by the NHL and the Flames, and they helped straighten things out. We don't really see that with Tkachuk anymore. Maybe that ends up happening with Rempe at some point, too. And it doesn't mean that you're ruining his effectiveness or you're ruining his game. Just rein it in just a little bit. And so, yeah, we'll see if that happens, or maybe if coming out of this suspension we see a little bit of a change in his game. But Anson Carter got everybody talking yesterday, didn't he? The whole idea of bringing a team to Atlanta, we now have 2 different groups, trying to build 2 different arenas within 10 miles of each other, the 2 proposed locations at the very, very least. So we'll see which project wins. It doesn't feel like there's any debate about if we're going to get a National Hockey League team back in Atlanta. It's a matter of when. I know there's people who don't like the idea. I've done videos on the failed expansion to Atlanta. The fact that they've expanded there twice, it's failed twice. But you get the Flames out of it, you get the Jets out of it. So maybe this is how you end up with the Nordiques, right? That's the joke. If you want the Nordiques back, you got to put a team in Atlanta first and just wait. But all kidding aside, there is belief that it can work in Atlanta this time around. Anson Carter believes in it. He has an arena project tied to this as well. He has other investors tied to this. So there's real money behind it. And there's some oomph to it when you've got a guy who played in the National Hockey League as long as Carter did. He's very, of course, well known in that he's an analyst for TNT and ESPN, as well as Sportsnet. So we'll see. We'll see if the South Forsyth project ends up being the one that lures the NHL back to the Atlanta area, or if this one does. And they're both north of the Atlanta Metro, and that's seen as a good location. Bill Daly said that that's a good spot to get more new hockey fans in, and we'll see, right? It's worked in Seattle, it's worked in Las Vegas. I think it can work in Atlanta. I did point to the last time I did a video on Atlanta, the fact that it wasn't really attendance that was a problem in Atlanta. It really wasn't what sunk the team or caused them to lose money. There were a lot of other issues. Now, and for anybody who's wondering if they could use the arena they used before when they were the Thrashers, the answer is no. That is currently used by the Atlanta Hawks of the NBA, and it is not seen as a suitable arena for hockey at this stage. It's been remodeled to really work, and the sightlines work for basketball. Not a great situation for hockey. Last night's game between the Ducks and the Hawks, I third period, I barely looked at any of it. I was like, this is over. I'm gonna watch the other games, because when nights are really busy, like last night, especially towards the end of the season, I'm gonna pay far less attention to the game between 2 teams that are way, way, way out of the playoffs. So I missed the brawl. There was a brawl in the Anaheim Chicago game, which included John Gibson deciding he wouldn't mind going down the ice and getting to know Peter Mrazek better. The NHL frowns upon goalies getting to know each other better during the game. You can't skate all the way down the ice. So, at any rate, they told Greg Cronin that John Gibson was ejected from the game. Came out after that he wasn't. So somebody miscommunicated somewhere, and so Dostal ended up in the net. And Cronin kind of like, I didn't have to pull him then. So he got 2 minutes and he got a 10-minute misconduct. He did not get a game misconduct. That is where things were reported incorrectly to the coach, and so you kind of a little bit ticked off about that. So at any rate, these teams do play each other again before the season's done, and while I mean there isn't really anything else on the line, it is entertaining when you get teams that are that far out of the playoffs playing against each other. You will very often get kind of a sloppy game, and there may be some fights. So there may be some fights in the next matchup. Gabe Vilardi. Gabe Vilardi's working out off the ice. He's not skating yet. The Jets, of course, coming off of a really good game. Tonight they're at home against Nashville. They could use Vilardi's goal scoring, but he will be skating. He could be skating in a couple of days. That's the reporting anyways. Vilardi not being on the ice yet, problematic, but still it doesn't sound like it's going to be a really long-term injury. At least they're not treating it like it's going to be a long-term injury, but we'll see. Because every injury seems to start out as day to day, and then it ends up being, well, I mean, it could be a month. All right, 6 months, but 6 months tops. Hitaka's been called up by the New Jersey Devils because Siegenthaler is out with the injury he sustained after being elbowed in the side of the head by Matt Rempe. So, for New Jersey, they're going to be going with a defense that's going to be even less experienced. And while I like Hitaka, this is a team that needs experienced defense. They also need a miracle if they're going to get anywhere near the playoffs. Right now, in terms of playoff odds, the Sabres are ahead of the Devils, which I didn't think was going to happen. But here we are. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you have not done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support, as always. I will talk to you again soon.